We're just gonna give it a moment to let the waiting room clear. Please make sure you're muted as you enter. All right. Good afternoon. This is a hearing before the Boston Cannabis Board, the BCB. Today is July 24th, 2024. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review some procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Thank you, Jasmine. Good afternoon. I'm Kathleen Joyce, Chair of the Boston Cannabis Board. Today, I am also joined by Commissioner Gabriel Camacho, Commissioner Lisa Holmes, Commissioner Sonal Gandhi, Commissioner John Smith, and Commissioner Ramon Soto.
Thank you, Chairwoman Joyce. My name is Jasmine Lynn. I am the Boston Cannabis Board Manager, and we are also joined by Luke Sandhouse, who is the Cannabis Licensing Specialist. While the public is encouraged to attend, there will be no additional public testimony accepted. I will begin by reading each item into the record as they appear on the agenda. We will then hear comments from the board members. I will then ask, is there a motion? If there are any questions to the motion, and then there will be a vote. Each board member has the ability to grant with conditions, defer, reject without prejudice, which means the applicant can return anytime with an application at the same location, or reject with prejudice, which means the applicant cannot reapply at the same location for 1 year. The first matter we have is Rooted in LLC. The proposed license premise is 331 Newberry Street, Back Bay. The license type is a marijuana courier license. The proposed hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. And this is an equity applicant, and there is a buffer zone conflict with another establishment. Chairwoman Joyce, if you want to start with comments.
Thank you. I think it was a good presentation. I know there were some issues with the back alley, but I didn't think those issues were insurmountable. In general, I thought it was a strong application.
Commissioner Camacho?
Yeah, I was impressed by the application as well. Thank you.
Commissioner Holmes?
Very strong application. Yeah, I agree with my fellow commissioners and the chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Gandhi?
I agree with my colleagues here. I think it was a very thoughtful, thorough presentation, and was very happy to hear it.
Commissioner Soto?
Yeah, I will echo the comments, previous comments.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Jasmine. Same as my fellow commissioners.
All right, Chairwoman Joyce, is there a motion?
I vote to approve the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And none opposed. The license is granted. All right, we are now going to move to old and new business. The first matter needs acknowledgement from the board. The licensee is HVB Massachusetts, Inc., DBA Happy Valley. The license premise is 1955 Beacon Street, Brighton. And this is a co-located medical and recreational dispensary location. The BCB is in receipt of correspondence from the licensee stating that they are no longer pursuing a marijuana establishment at this location. The licensee is relinquishing their host community agreement with the City of Boston.
Acknowledged.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Petition is acknowledged. The next matter we have is from our informational hearing. The board held an informational hearing to discuss certain conditions that the BCB has placed on licensed premises located within the downtown Boston Business Improvement District. We will start with comments, starting with Chairwoman Joyce.
I have some general comments. I am no further along in my thinking today than I was 2 weeks ago. I am not entirely sure what our role is as far as enforcing this condition that was negotiated between the bid and the applicants within their area. That being said, I don't know if the word's disappointed, but I am going to continue to ask the bid to sit down with both applicants and consider this condition. I was impressed with the comments of my other commissioners in the hearing last week, so I want to defer my time to them because I think they had some thoughtful input about what a condition like this means, the economic impact it has on the applicants and what that means to the bid in general and their vacancy rates. But also putting back my regulator hat, I'm just not sure what our role is here.
Commissioner Camacho?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I originally was looking at the paperwork that was filed in terms of no pre-rolls. I do think there was a understanding that no pre-rolls would be one of the conditions to operate in the bid zone, and I don't know why the licensees have not adhered to that. At least one from the very beginning. That's what's sticking in me right now. So,
Commissioner Holmes?
These are one of the first two places that we licensed. This was new to all of us. The board was new. This whole cannabis industry was new. And I think we were all concerned about how selling pre-rolls or selling lower monetary amounts of marijuana would affect the downtown business area. I know, in fact, I was, because it's all new to us and we didn't know. As the years have progressed and other businesses have sprung up, I think it's time to revisit these things because it is economically unfair to hold these two, in my opinion, to hold these two licensees to conditions that 500 feet away other businesses don't have. And so I have to agree with the chairperson that maybe the bid and these people need to come back together and talk about their host agreements and look at how the market and just the whole atmosphere has changed in the 18 is when we started, and how things have changed and progressed over time. So I agree. As the chairperson said, we may not be the entity to have to make a decision on this, but I think with the advent of time and the changing of everything, they are conditions that need to be revisited.
Commissioner Gangi?
Thank you, Chairwoman Joyce, for those really thoughtful comments, and I agree with my fellow commissioner, Commissioner Holmes, on your comments. I think I also question kind of the role of the BCB in the context of an agreement, which I did read in between two parties that we are not a party to. I asked my question at the last meeting about vacancy rates and the bids philosophy towards vacancy rates and how they would how they would consider balancing a potential vacant storefront versus a policy that the board has put into place. I do agree. I do think that the parties need to sit down and have a good conversation. Not that they haven't already, but continue to have conversations, as we've heard and seen from the comment letters that we've received, to continue to have conversations about how to ensure that there's mutually agreeable terms for operating, given the fact that things have changed quite a bit. I think there was some openness to the below $35 sale basket, which I was, there was an openness to talking about how things can be, how requests can be approached and accommodated. So I'm heartened by the fact that there's some there is some openness to acknowledging, there's some acknowledgement of how the business has changed and how we can look at things given that the industry is now more than a couple of years old. So I would echo the statements made by the chairperson that I would encourage the folks to continue to work collaboratively together to ensure that there's mutually agreeable terms, that there aren't vacancies in our downtown area, given our still recovering from post-COVID status, and the goal of all of us to have really vibrant storefronts and an economically viable downtown Boston that balances the needs of all.
Thank you. Commissioner Soto?
Thank you, Jasmine. So definitely agree with the comments from the previous commissioners. I also, I think it was a very helpful learning for me that the last hearing, and sort of understanding the business argument and how things change over time. And so trying to appreciate that at the same time that, hearing the concerns from the community, but also the need to sort of substantiate that concern around the litter, and being able to point directly to those businesses, it seems incredibly challenging. So I think there is an opportunity for the parties to come together and have an honest dialogue about that. I hope that they will. I think there are ways to partner on mitigation efforts, or, setting some standards that they can, mutually enforce. I think there's creative ways to go about it without injecting the board into the conversation that doesn't have the agreement with them. So I hope that they can come to some terms that would allow for the businesses to do business, to be profitable, and also support the community around them. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Jasmine. I think that this prohibition actually has more adverse effects on the businesses than that community. And I say that only because we, in the time that we've been on this board, and, I don't think we've really seen some of these sort of large scale fairs play out around the environment and some of these other things that people have, come to the board with as concerns. I mean, cannabis is being sold all over Boston. Some are very close to neighborhoods, and folks have been allowed to sell pre-rolls. There's literally cannabis stores in Dorchester and JP, and where they're doing that. And I don't think we've heard anything that people said, well, because of pre-rolls, my neighborhood or something is, diminished in value or quality or something. So I feel like it has more of an adverse effects on the business. And I agree with Commissioner Soto. I feel like there's a way for folks to talk about more about the mitigation of some of the things that they're concerned about. And I feel by not allowing them to operate in terms of the full range of their business, then, we're impeding, businesses and having a greater impact on minority businesses than I think it was intended for. If the whole intention was for folks to, especially minority business people, to be able to flourish in this area, I think, this prohibition serves as an impediment to that. So I'd like to see them have a deeper discussion around it and look at different parts of the city, even Newbury Street and all the places that are doing this. And I know last week they said, okay, we're only concerned about downtown, the bid is the bid, but there are models for this all over the city that I think can be replicated. So I hope that they can revisit this.
Any additional comments from the board members?
Just, to me, I really want to see the bid sit down again with these two businesses and talk to them. That's my comment. I'm frustrated because I can't tell if it was a good faith effort. I can't tell if the cannabis sat down with them about this topic or about other topics and didn't have an opportunity to discuss it. I want the bid to sit down with Kobe's group too, to talk about, what's going on at his place. And then, again, I hear what everyone's saying, so I don't want to just brush this off. I feel like it's something we need to continue to look at and get more information about. That's what my frustration is. I was hoping we'd come back today and they had a productive conversation, and it turns out they haven't met.
Any other additional comments? Chair Joyce, do you want to provide a motion?
Yeah, my motion is to put this on the August agenda. And as a way to defer it until August. And staff will reach out to all three parties and help facilitate a meeting. If they are not able to meet before August, I want to know why and when they do plan on meeting, and we can defer it till September, but at the latest September.
Okay, so is the motion to defer until all parties have had an additional meeting?
Yeah, and Jasmine, you and Luke, if you could facilitate making sure that happens.
Okay, is there a second? Commissioner Holmes, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and none opposed. So this matter will be deferred until we have confirmation that all parties have sat down with the bid regarding these conditions. All right. So those are the matters before the board today. Our next hearing will take place August 14th, 2024 at 1 p.m. Thank you all for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day.